Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday meditation gathering. I'm so glad you're all here to share this time together. This week we have Luis Falcao, who will lead us in meditation, and then we have 20 minutes of silence, and after that we'll open it up for sharing. And with the time left, we'll share, and then we'll end at 10:45. Over to you, Luis.
Thank you so much, beloved siblings. I really am again once again honored by your invitation, and thank you for this opportunity to once again share the consciousness of Christ as a reminder that we are walking each other home. And today's meditation, I would like to focus specifically on an invitation. It's a conscious, dedicated invitation to the consciousness of the Christ to descend upon the core of our essence, our heart, so that we travel through this dream on our way home in full conscious Christ awareness, that we do not get trapped with and by the play of the world, that we stay above the battlefield, and that we remain dedicated to our purpose on this world, in this world, which is to truly bring practical and true forgiveness to this world, and to be the light that brings the truth into awareness as we lay at the feet of Christ the idea of separation. And we ask our brother Christ to awaken our awareness from now onwards. And so I ask you just to, as you are, just to relax. I'll lead us into the meditation and then I'll go quiet. And just as you sit there, allow your body to relax. Be aware of the essence of self. And just allow the body to relax. As you breathe in, every breath you inhale is an invitation for Christ consciousness to descend into the very core of your essence. Every time you exhale, you release parts of that separate identity. And as you inhale, you allow the peace of Christ to descend upon you. As you exhale, release the idea of separation. As you inhale, invite the peace of Christ to fill you. As you exhale, release the separation. Imagine in your mind's eye, if you will, the face of Christ smiling upon you. And as he looks upon you, you feel the presence of his love. You feel the peace of his presence. You become aware of the essence of peace, which is your inheritance. from the very core of your heart, expand the peace outwards, extend the peace outwards. That you may touch every living thing, every living being. And as it extends from you, so the essence of the peace and love of Christ continues to fill you. The more you extend, the more the peace of Christ fills into you and extends into you and through you into the world. And you become aware that you are that which is aware. And that which is aware is the self, the Holy Son of God. The eternal love of God. The eternal joy of God. The very essence of what you are is peace. And deep in the very core of the essence of what you are, there comes a deep sense of knowing that God's justice is always taking place. God's justice is not the justice of the world. God's justice is the correction of the error of the thinking mind. The correction is simply the returning to the awareness of the Christ I am. That you are the Holy Son of God, eternally changeless. You are God's creation, and therefore you are God's peace. And as you are continually filled with the peace of God, which expands from you to every living thing, your extension, your expansion is the expansion of the love of God. As this peace touches every living being, the peace of Christ comes upon all minds. Every living being. Nothing escapes the touch of the peace of God. And as you extend the peace of God, you release all anxiety, all negative beliefs of scarcity, of separation, of all, in the full knowing, not be harmed. Cannot be changed, of the I am is your truth. Release all ideas of death. And as you extend the peace of God to every living being, every living being releases the idea of fear. Releases the fear of death. And as the peace of God expands through you to every living being, the idea of separation is released from every mind. As you expand the peace of God to every living being, the knowing descends upon all of us that not a single one will be left behind. When the Son of God awakens, it will be in full realization that he has never left. He simply had a silly little dream where he forgot not to lie. And as the joy of God descends upon you, expands through you to every living being, allow the peace and joy of God to light up your face. That a smile returns upon your eye. That a smile returns upon your face. And from this day forward, as you look upon the world looks back at you with lighted eyes and a smiling face. That you be reminded that you are the light and joy of the world. And I will now go silent and ask that you picture in your mind's eye anyone that you can think of that requires healing, and that you bring them into your heart. And as you bring them into your heart, they are filled with the healing that you are now. And as Christ has filled your heart, so Christ fills theirs. you all to take a deep breath. And as you exhale, just allow your body to become conscious again. Become physically aware of your physical presence. The consciousness of Christ remains upon you. Take another deep breath, and as you exhale, feel your body being filled with conscious energy. Start becoming aware of the room around you, position of your body. Take another deep breath as you inhale, and as you exhale, gently open your eyes and come back into the room. Come back into awareness.
Sharon, was that you?
Yes, we've got 20 minutes left.
Oh, okay. Would anyone like to ask any questions or any comments? Catherine.
Hi there. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. How do I pronounce? Is it Louis? Can people hear me?
You're right. Yes, Louise on mute.
Oh,
Louis is muted.
but it's Louis. Okay. Hi, Louis.
Yes, some people call me Lou, some call Louis, Louis. So Luigi is what my nephews call me, and that's just become the nickname Luigi.
Luigi. Okay.
It's a way a kid pronounces Louis.
Okay. I shall be a kid then. I'm
Good.
very happy with that. Thank you. I'm referring to the lovely lovely sharing before 10 o'clock. So just to tell some people who arrived then that you'd spoken before, and I was struck by your invitation to love our creation, love your creation. And I have this practice where I say thank you. It's like a gratitude practice, but it's more for the things that I don't immediately feel drawn to say thank you for. So the things that I find a problem. And I guess that's perhaps my way of loving it, to say thank you for this relationship problem, and I find that to be a channel through which I'm effectively a way of inviting God into it, to transform it, to be used for the Holy Spirit purposes. But when you say love your creation, are you talking about feeling love for the messiness of it all? Or is it resting in the reality of loving what is underneath it? Like the love, the peace, the joy? Or is it both?
Thank you for that, Catherine. Love is not an action. Love is an awareness. So when we say we love something, what we really mean is we accept it. We accept it without conditions. Love is not attraction. Attraction requires desire. So what people very often try and do is detach from the world, hide somewhere, deny the world in order to escape the reality of the dream. The minute you do that, you are in essence resisting what is, and what you resist persists. When I say love your creation, we all take the individual responsibility that the world we see, the universe we see, is the creation of the fallen asleep Son of God. And each one of us is a part of that mind which has fallen asleep and has dreamt up the universe. In order to release it, we need to accept that once we have chosen to return to God, God has given us the Holy Spirit as the guide that returns us back to full awareness. And the minute we've surrendered to the Holy Spirit, the Christ, the Holy Son of God, the Holy Spirit uses the universe to help us return back to full awareness. By detaching from it, we're denying it, therefore resisting it. By being non-attached to it, we expect nothing from it, but simply expand our love into all of it. And what I mean by expand all our love, we also are expanding as a conceptual idea, the forgiveness of our love into all of it. So we release it from any expectation, just like you do as you thank a relationship in order to, because it brings up the awareness of whatever may be wrong in your awareness. And so when we can just accept the fact that we've created all of it and therefore love all of it as is, without any expectation, without any attachment, that's how we release it. And that's what is really meant by placing the illusion at the feet of the Holy Spirit and saying, I give this to you. And I don't give it to you in resistance to it. I give it to you in complete acceptance that I've created this. And since I am the love of God, I give it to you in full love.
So in terms of, because I've been reading the Miracle Worker Principles a lot lately, so what I'm hearing is you're saying love what you've made and love what you've created.
Sure.
Just be in that awareness of it.
Yeah. Now, I don't mean that from a human, you know, sort of a humanistic love, whereas I love cricket. No, it's not that. It's not, I love my car. It's not loving the objectified projection of my, it's love as in I accept that I've created this. And I now hand it to the Holy Spirit, who will use all of this to help me return to the full awareness of the Christ I am.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else have a question or a comment? Terry.
Hi. Oh, sorry.
Terry, go ahead.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Luke G. You spoke with great authority before the meditation, and I admire the fact that you felt able to do that, and I respected the words that were coming through you, so thank you. And the visualization that we've just done, it brought to mind, before the pandemic, I did an 8-day silent retreat. I love silence. Silence is my way, if you like. And we had an icon at the head of the room. So there were a group of us from all over the world who entered into the silence. We willingly contracted not to speak for the 8 days, but meditate together in the silence for the period. But we had this icon. I don't know if you can see it. It's an icon of Christ. Yeah. It's very ancient, and yes. it was just at the head of the room. And you know, these kind of icons where no matter where you are in the room, the eyes follow you.
Yeah.
So you always feel gazed upon.
Yes.
And the visualization that you led us into there, it brought to mind the fact that what I put my attention on grows. And if I can allow myself to put my attention on the truth of who I am, if you like, the Christ light within me, then inevitably that's going to shine out. And then I become part of the solution. And like you were saying, don't get bogged down in the world. And I had a teacher many years ago. She was a Christian Scientist, and she was into metaphysics and stuff. And she said, your role is to be like the lighthouse on top of the cliffs. Shine a light brightly to guide the ships away from becoming shipwrecked. Your role is not to come out of the lighthouse, descend into the rocks and risk drowning with everybody else.
Yes, exactly.
So again, your words reflected that. So thank you.
Most welcome. Thank you. Just on that, Terry, this is an invitation to all of you as teachers for God. Now, some of you prefer the silence, and that's beautiful because there's no truer truth than silence. But some of us have come and responded to the call to be the voice for the voice. And some of us are given that gift to be able to use our voice as the voice for God. There's only two types of students. One teaches by speaking, learns by speaking, by teaching, and the other one learns by silent observation or participating in workshops or reading. But the teaching student situation is always maximum. But I call on all of you to be the light now. And whenever something happens in the media, there's going to be the debate on vaccines, whether they should be, forced or not, and can you or can't you travel? And it's always something. Some politician said something. These elections, those elections, something. Don't get drawn into it. The minute you move into any form of resistance of what is, ego's got you. The minute you are talking about anything in this illusion, if it upsets you, if it angers you, ego's got you. Anger is the number one obstacle to peace. Number one, anger. It's the deepest, darkest. anger, the polar opposite of anger is shame. Just pulls you into the deepest, darkest. Stay above the battlefield. The minute you get into if there are people debating and they ask you your opinion, just nod and smile. Okay. Ultimately, your life is in God's hands. Your destiny is scripted. You don't need a virus to die physically. So, you know, the fear of death has been around. It's just propagated more because everybody's focusing on it. Don't you focus on it. You be that lighthouse that Terry spoke about. Don't descend upon the rocks. Don't descend from the light. Be the light, that you may guide others to realize there's another way to look at this. Because the minute you try and take any perspective in this world is an ego perspective. Stay above it. Rise above the battlefield.
Great. Kirsty, did you want to say something? Nope. Jan, you're on mute.
Hi, Jan.
Hello, so good to see you. Very pleased you're here, and thank you for that beautiful meditation. It was just wonderful. A couple of people have referred to you speaking before we actually started, and I feel that's quite important what you were saying. I just caught one bit of it, and I'm wondering if you could talk to that now, or was that what you were just talking about a few minutes ago?
Just shortly, I was just speaking of that. I've taken the last 8 months off, and I'm taking another year off because I've uploaded so much information, and not conceptually, but fully experientially into the full understanding of the I am, the full comprehension of the physical embodiment of what it means to be the capital S self. So the realization, the Holy Self, capital S, the Holy Spirit, HS, okay, the Holy Son, HS, are all identical. And it's brought into conscious awareness, experienced physically, when you fully invite into the very core of the essence of what you are, the stillness of the full awareness of I am. And as the Course says, and you say I am, and you stop there. And I want to bring this into full consciousness. And it's so important right now, because meditating either on the I am or on God's name, which is love, or our brother's name, which is no longer Jesus, but Christ, because Jesus was the man. Jesus becomes Christ. So in present moment, Jesus is Christ. And focus only on that. Use your brain to do your daily tasks and your activities, and to drive and to cook and to eat and to converse. And any other moment, whenever the mind goes idle and has opportunity to focus on the media and to move into any form of resistance, be consciously aware of it and take your mind to the word Christ, or to the essence I am. No objectification, simply silent awareness. And that's how you step above it. And everything has changed for me. The way that I view the world is complete. I've been doing this course 11 years now, and really fully committed to it over the last 11 years. But in these last 8 months, ever since Ibiza, Jan, when I met you, everything has flipped so radically that I now fully comprehend my creation and how I'm completely responsible for everything I see, and how quickly I can change it. How quickly it changes for me, and how no matter what is happening around me, the peace of God fills me completely. And if you ever want to be challenged to rise above the battlefield, come to South Africa. You've got two choices. it will very quickly tempt you into buying into this nonsense. Or if you really want the peace of God, you have to step above it. So I have chosen wisely to manifest my separate identity in this plane. It's a great training ground, South Africa.
Anyone else have a question, comment? Raise your hand. Linda, take yourself off mute.
Thank you for that, Luigi. That was just living words. They were living words. And what I was going to say is, what you've been talking about has
I think Linda's frozen. Is everyone frozen?
course.
Oh, there we go.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yes. Speak up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well-
it comes to mind and then I hear it and you have just spoken what I have been within me all these few months. And I went for a walk yesterday, and I go every day, and I see the beauty of the sunrise, the sunset, the birds, and the trees, the winter trees lace against the sun, the sky, fill me with absolute blessings. They are in my mind. I'm creating these. I can see what I'm making. And I saw some gravel in someone's garden yesterday. The colours of these stones were absolutely amazing. Oranges and yellows. And then I started to see every little thing in people's gardens. The colours, even though in the winter there are colours around. How blessed am I? Truly blessed. But thank you for what you've been saying today, because I know I'm on the right track. So thank you.
Thank you for that, Linda. And I just want to draw attention to your choice of words and how accurate you're being. Because as it comes to mind, you're so correct. There's only one mind. We don't have individual minds. Ego has convinced us that we're individual minds in individual bodies. So there are no secrets in the mind. And when conscious awareness comes to mind, so once Christ was accessible to mind, Christ is accessible to all minds. And as you've made, because all you require is to will thy will be done. So no longer my will, as Linda has chosen thy will be done. And I'm going to make a small joke. So she walked past the driveway and there was some gravel there, and the owner owns a Triumph motorcycle which leaked oil. And what she's actually looked upon is the oil mark. But because her mind is lit with Christ's mind, she sees the beauty in the gravel. Do you get the, I'm joking with it. Of course, I'm making it up as I'm going along, but you now see beauty everywhere. Where someone else could walk past and go, look at these terrible bare trees and look at that oil stain. And Linda's just seeing beauty everywhere because there is no tree and there is no motorcycle and then there is no oil stain, there's no gravel. It's all in, it's an idea of the mind, and we now believe it because as we project ourselves into the dream, we believe we're in the dream. And the dream is real for the dreamer who's dreamt himself into the dream. Linda is now chosen to see with the eyes of Christ. Terry's decided not to descend from the lighthouse and stay the light, be the light. But the important thing is that you remain the awareness, which is the self. The self is aware of only itself as the Holy Son, as the awakened Holy Son of God. The self is aware that parts of itself are still dreaming. God is not aware that parts of the self is dreaming. God is simply aware that the Son is dreaming, a dream of separation. The Son, who's now filled with the light, the grace, the Holy Spirit of God, is aware of the part of himself, the Christ part, which is awake, and the remaining part of itself, which is asleep. Just like when you were daydreaming and you fell asleep on your leg, and as you wake up, you've got a dead leg and it's got pins and needles and you can't quite stand up yet, and you've got to give it some time for blood to flow into your leg before you can stand up. This is what's happening to the dream. This is where we are in the dream. And a part of the body is awake and aware, and a part of the body is still asleep, fighting the dream of illusion. But none of it can escape the awakening. That is our inheritance. All of this will soon, space-time, be over, and we will once again remember the I am. It is the most incredible time to be in the dream, if there's such a thing, because we've been doing this for billions of years in terms of space-time, but it's always now. Eternity is not forever. Eternity is always now. And we're becoming aware it's always now.
I have a couple of comments in the chat. One says, what does it say on your t-shirt? Luis?
This is a friend of mine that made this, and it says, God has got this. It's another way, it's just a nice way of saying, I'm not worrying about the world. God's got it. It's just all in process.
Okay, and another one says, deep appreciation for the powerful and certain reminders.
Thank you. Thank you, because you're a reminder to me as I'm a reminder to you of the Christ I am. And this is why the course community is so important, that we continue in fellowship, and this is the holy relationship. That's what my talk is going to be about in, I think it's June. I'm busy writing it up so I can give you the details, but I'm going to talk about the true holy companionship and holy relationship.
Thank you. Well, we've come to the top of our meditation. Thank you, Luis. That was wonderful. So many inspiring thoughts to take back with us. And everyone, yourself off of mute and show your appreciation to Luis.
Thank you.
Bye,
Luis.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.